Hi, everyone. Welcome to week 5 of our introduction to early childhood. This week, I was extremely impressed with the assignments that you turned in with regard to kindergarten readiness. Wonderful research, great ideas. A few things that I just wanted to point out, and I know I did point it out right on some of your assignments, but just to make sure we all have the same information. One, there's something that you should be aware of called the fade out effect. A lot of you cited research, which is absolutely accurate, that children who are able to have high quality early childhood programming are more likely to do better in third grade, particularly in assessments of literacy. That is absolutely correct. One of the things we are finding out, though, through research is that it doesn't always stay. After third grade, a lot of those gains do tend to level out, and some of that is called the fade out effect. And some of it also has to do with the quality of the instructional practices that the children are receiving once they get beyond preschool. Just something to keep in your mind if you ever hear anybody talk about fade out. Another thing that I commented on many of your papers was I think everybody came away from looking at the NAEYC reading and came away with the idea that it really is when a child is age eligible for kindergarten, they should be going to kindergarten for the most part. There are always a few exceptions. But parents in many states have the option of holding them out. For instance, in Connecticut, the compulsory age for a school district to offer kindergarten is a child being 5 on or before January 1st of that year, which is very, very late compared to the rest of the country. That being said, it's perfectly acceptable for a family to opt out of kindergarten until a child turns 7. There's not compulsory education in Connecticut. What does happen there, frequently referred to as redshirting, which is a sports term, and that is holding a child out that is otherwise age eligible. There is research, but it really is sort of inconclusive that holding your child out can really have huge positive or huge negative effects. There's a little bit of research on both sides. My guidance that I've always given to the people that I've worked with, and because I work for the state of Connecticut, the guidance that I do give school districts, that unless a child really has missed a lot of instruction, so for instance, a child was in preschool, but because they were very ill and were hospitalized a great deal during one of their last preschool year, they missed a lot of instruction, may be a reason to think about doing another year of preschool. But for the most part, we want children to go to kindergarten when they are age eligible because there's not tons of evidence to show that, as some people refer to it, the gift of time really gives any long-term lasting benefits. Additionally, there are equity issues. Families that can afford childcare have the luxury of being able to decide to opt out of kindergarten when their child is age eligible, but families that really don't have the same means don't have those same kind of resources. So there is an equity issue there. And let's see. I think that those are the big ideas I have here written down in my notes from while I was guiding. Again, with regard to discussions this week, please do your best to try and post throughout the week. I do notice this class, like with many other classes, the large majority of posts happen during the last 12 hours that the post is open. If you could at least get 1 or 2 of your posts, in addition to the response to the initial prompt, up earlier in the week, it really will allow your classmates and you to have a discussion rather than posting and having not being able to have that back and forth. So please try to do that. I would really appreciate it. This week, we're going to be learning about kindergarten, and we're also going to be talking about guiding children's behavior. So for our discussion, we're going to be discussing literacy and reading. You have chapters to read in your book, and there's also some optional resources. And you're really going to start thinking about children's developmental profiles and identifying ways to develop literacy and reading in young children. Some of you mentioned the idea of that word gap in preschool, and I mentioned that that was researched by Hart and Risley that tied children that are in lower socioeconomic groups tend to hear less words and start school with less words, and that does impact language and literacy. So that may be one of the things you want to think about. And think about a typical developmental profile for a kindergartner as you're doing that. And feel free to record a recorded post like I'm doing for you right now. That would be sort of neat too. So that's our discussion. You have 2 assignments this week. One is you're going to be discussing guiding early childhood behaviors, and you're going to think about what kind of practices and approaches you think would be both good and bad to implement if you had your own early childhood classroom. So you're going to be looking at the social constructivist approach, the zone of proximal development, and scaffolding. So thinking about all of those, if you have any questions about any of those, feel free to reach out. I'd be happy to chat with you. And then we're going to move on to our next assignment. In this class, as I had said in one of my posts, people are unable to go out into schools and into early childhood programs to be able to do assignments because of the pandemic. So we have come up with an alternate way for you to do this. So you can choose one of the videos that I have posted and use that as an observation. Or if you have a video that you would like to use, just send me a link so I can take a look at it first, and you can choose your own video. If there's a particular time of the day you want to observe, or if you have a videotape perhaps of your own child's classroom or your own classroom that you would like to use for an observation, that would be fine. I just like to take a look at the video first to make sure that there's enough there for you to observe. It's hard in a little video snippet to get everything that you need. So we do have a busy week this week, a discussion and 2 assignments. Looking forward to speaking with all of you. Again, post early, post often in our discussion board, and I look forward to checking back in with you during the week. Thanks a lot. Have a great week.